We're just gonna wait 2 minutes to see if Chair Chong arrives. Then we'll get started. All right, we can get started. Welcome everyone to the September 18th Design Review Board. We'll start with roll call.
Board Member Kim,
Here.
Board Member Ordorcio,
Here.
Vice Chair Rosner,
Here.
and Chair Trong and Board Member Holscher absent.
Now we'll turn to oral communications. This is for anyone that wishes to address the board about an item that's not on the agenda. If anyone would like to speak, please come to the microphone. Seeing none in the room, is there anyone on the Zoom?
There's no one on Zoom.
Okay. Next will be staff briefing. Is there a staff briefing tonight?
Thank you, Vice Chair. Just a couple items. At last night's town council meeting, the town council did approve the resolution denying the appeal at 14 Southridge East, effectively upholding the decision of the Design Review Board for that project. They also approved a response letter that we had drafted in response to a grand jury report titled "The Worrisome Future of Marin Housing." Essentially, it was a grand jury investigation and report upon concerns about as I'm sure the DRB is aware, the RHNA numbers, the housing requirements over this next cycle are really much greater than they have been in the past, far beyond the pattern of development over the last many years for just about every city and town, not just in Marin County, but around the Bay Area. And so some of the focus is on the challenge of trying to meet those numbers and concerns about whether agencies are able to do so, and also the economic factors in terms of costs and labor and so on that go into building housing. So it presented a number of the challenges that we recognize we're facing. It also recommended more outreach and regular reporting on housing performance. We did, in their response, identify that like many agencies, we're doing a lot more outreach and information on website. We've had, of course, the housing element process was a very public facing process, and agencies do have to prepare what's called an annual progress report for HCD every year. Those are posted and are very publicly available. And those are very detailed breakdowns of housing development by not just numbers of units, but unit types and affordability, the types of approvals that are granted, where everything is kind of in process. How many projects have been approved yet not built, how many were maybe denied for various reasons. So those are very involved reports. So that was one of the responses, was that there's already a good amount of tracking and reporting that has to be done through that process. But anyway, the report and the response letter are available, and you can view them on last night's agenda if you're of interest. And I probably should send an email out for those types of things, planning related items that don't necessarily come before the commission and or design review board, just to keep you apprised of those, of developments. One other item is, at the last design review board meeting, you approved a project at 110 Las Lomas, but did impose some conditions, modifying a request for an 8-foot high fence, where I think the board directed that portions of the fence be reduced back to 6 feet. The property owner has appealed that. It is likely going on the second meeting in October at the town council.
Great, thank you for the update.
Any questions or anything?
Any questions from the board? No? All right, thanks very much. With that, we will move to the minutes. Is there a motion, or are there any changes to the minutes that someone would like to?
Like to move the adoption of the minutes.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? None. The minutes are adopted, 3-0 to 2 absent. And now we will move to the public hearings. First will be 1501 Tiburon Boulevard. If the applicant would like to come to the microphone, we can, they'll have 20 minutes to present.
The switch is on top.
I used to this. Oh, here we go. Okay, thank you. So hi, my name is Mariana Sabin-Fleshman from BRW Architects. We have a few images here, and you also have paper copies of the planning submittal. So what you see is a building that you know pretty well next door, the Belvedere Tiburon Library. We were the architects that did the renovation of this building in 2018. And then now this project is for a shade structure to be built near the children's patio, which is on the right end of this image here. So these are some renders of what it would look like. It's the shade structure. So it's 4 points of attachments, 2 in the roof, 2 posts, metal posts that are also, they are attached by metal plates on the outer side of this partial retaining wall that you see on the right. And then with the sail made out of fabric that we're proposing in a color that is sky blue. And the reason for this project is to provide just some shade to increase the usability of that space. So the children's patio, it's the children's corner, actually the children's area of the library is used throughout the day by many families that come not only to read, but also to spend time there and play. And those, there are doors that lead straight into that area that is fenced. So it's a protected area for kids to play, and it would be even more enjoyable if they had shade. And we think that based on the size comparatively to the building itself, we think it's a pretty small addition and doesn't really have a considerable visual impact into the whole volume. And the reason for the blue is out of all of the options we had, it seems that it's the most neutral out of, we consider one of the most neutral colors out of a colorful palette, but it's still playful and still relates to the kids and to the use of the space.
Great, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for the applicant?
I just have a curious question. Why are you opting for a more temporary structure versus like a more fixed sort of traditional type of shading device there? And how long do you think that the sale could last for?
Well, we actually don't think that it has like a temporary aspect of it. We think it can last. I'm not the vendor, but I would say, maybe the fabric is going to fade a little bit and it would have to be changed in like maybe after, I want to say 10 years, they said. Yeah, so 10 years based on the vendor's feedback. When you say more traditional, you mean like a wood structure? Mm-hmm. Well, this style of the shade was actually desired and directed by the library itself, and I would think the answer for that is cost.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, thanks very much. We'll now open to public comment. If anyone wishes to address the board from the public, you'll have 3 minutes. We'll start in the room. No one in the room. Anyone on Zoom?
No one has their hands raised on
Okay.
Zoom.
The applicant has 5 minutes for a rebuttal or anything else, but you're welcome to yield your time if there's anything else you'd like to say. Okay. Public comment is now closed. We'll bring it back to the board. Anyone like to kick us off?
Why did this have to come before the design review board?
Well, the type of structure that it is, given the location in a public venue, we felt was just better to make sure it's run through your eyes. Yeah, not that we felt it was, offensive or a big issue, or you just don't really know what the issues might be, and we wanted to make sure you guys felt comfortable with the solution that was proposed.
Thank you.
And that I would say, because it's a public location, it's not a typical type of structure, didn't really fit normal processes. So it was a determination by myself and the city manager that it's probably the best path of review. There's a whole history to the library itself, going through the town council, et cetera. But we didn't want to take that kind of path for something this simple.
Go ahead.
I'm comfortable moving forward and approving this.
Yeah, they express the need and design and I think for the cost savings they're describing, there's no reason not to go forward with approving that.
Yeah, I largely agree. Shade is good, especially when children are running out. So I'll be looking for a motion to adopt the draft resolution.
A motion to adopt the resolution as presented.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. The motion passes 3-0 to 2, absent. Thank you very much. We'll move on to The second item tonight, which is One Borough Court. If the applicant would like to come, you'll have 20 minutes to present.
It's on, right? Yeah. Okay. First off, thank you guys. I know these types of things are time consuming and tedious, so especially on the planning side. So thank you very much. My name is Daniel Vargas. I'm here to represent AKD Homes. We are the design builder for the proposed what's considered to be new construction now at One Borough Court. This is, if it is approved, would be the third project for us at this property. We first did the ADU that you can kind of see in the rendering there. And we're currently in the construction for the landscape and backyard. There are a couple of variances that we're looking for. Outside of the plans, I'm sorry, I didn't really have any other material to bring. I thought the plans did a pretty good job of kind of giving a visual of the material and overall look of the property. So hopefully it's sufficient. But yeah, I think overall, from what I've gathered and what I've seen, I think a lot of people have taken not advantage, but have kind of adventure through types of variances like this and with no problem. So I think something like this is kind of a no-brainer for us, but there are a couple of, I guess, high details, which is including the house is actually built within the front setback. So that's one of the variances, as well as the floor area ratio. So we think that in general, looking at how it matches the ADU, the overall aesthetic that they're going for, I think a house like this would, pass the test of time for a few decades more, and just kind of provide a good, overall aesthetic for the neighborhood and the future of Tiburon. So that's kind of all I've got. If you guys have any questions, I'll do my best to help you guys answer them.
Does anyone have any questions?
I did. Can you point out this, the setback and help me understand where the 21-foot versus 30-foot setback is supposed to be?
So the left-hand side, that's considered the front of the property, right? And so, let's see. Oh, great. Right here. So this part is considered the front, not this one where the front door is, but technically this is considered the front. And so the house and what you see in pink here is what's being added, and it's hard for me to see, but I think it already is built within the required setback. So,
Sorry. Sorry, I just want to confirm that. Well, I think there's two things.
Yeah.
On the plans, it seems like top to bottom says front setback. Is that accurate?
Yeah.
If I can go ahead and
Yeah.
jump in, that front yard setback variance is actually, if you can see my mouse on the screen, for this area here,
Oh, I apologize.
this is
I'm
the
sorry.
front yard setback.
Okay. Thank you for clearing that up.
Street.
This
So
is-
it's
Right.
basically a variance for an existing condition.
That is correct.
Okay.
But I did want to clarify, because I saw in the written report, I think it mentioned 21 feet, but then on the table, on the plans, it said 26 feet. So can we get a clarification on that?
So this right here, a couple of things. It's the existing condition here, but then they're also bumping out this part of the structure here. So it's continuing that existing non-conforming situation. The building here measured from the edge to the property line is that 21.
It's 21. Okay.
And then the bulb over there, as you go to the left, that's the 26, or that's not the 26.
No, that's a bend in the screen, I believe. I think it's a straight line until you hit a curve.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Now, well, actually, there is a little bit of a bend.
Just-
So the non-conforming, the non-existing, pre-existing non-conforming is a gray area past the purple line right there, and then the pink and the yellow are new additions that are coming out a little bit further.
Yes, the purple is and the yellow is a deck.
And I believe one of the other members of the design team is on Zoom with their hand raised. Is it okay if I let them respond to your questions as well? Janelle, if you can hear me, I'm gonna allow you to turn your mic on.
Hi everyone. I'm the designer, so yeah, I'm here to help with some of the questions. And like Savannah's saying, the gray portion is all existing. The pink and yellow in that front setback would be that little portion that we would be extending out.
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify, is it 21 feet or 26 feet? Because reading the staff report and then also looking at the plans, we've got a few different numbers.
I would like to clarify that quickly. It
Yeah.
is the 26. Sorry about that. The
Thanks.
26, yes.
Okay,
And that already exists, correct? Yeah,
that's right.
this is, you're right, because that has nothing to do with the decision to approve that at this point.
That is correct.
I had a question for either staff or the team. What's been the history of design review, maybe at the staff level for like, it seems like the landscaping plan maybe, since the ADU is obviously a separate thing. I mean, it seems like that must have very tall retaining walls. I'm assuming that did it go through staff or did we approve it years ago? Can we get some details?
That's correct. They did several other permits that were done at staff level.
Okay,
And all of that work was approved at staff level.
okay. All right, thank you. Any other questions?
Yeah, sorry, my eyes are really bad. So can you explain the lot coverage? It's a lot coverage variance. And is it triggered partly because they're making a flat area for the landscaping and
This project does not cover any landscaping. It is
Okay.
just covering the addition to the home and its proposed decks. So there's no landscaping proposed in this application.
I think maybe to clarify,
Mm.
the retaining walls and then the grass, that does not count towards lot coverage for the property.
That's not covered in the slot coverage calculation.
Did that answer your question?
Oh, why is that? Because I thought we typically did that. I may be incorrect, but I thought that's part of the calculation.
Typically, and maybe Sam can add to this, typically if there is grading work that's done, so if it's not a deck that's above grade, that wouldn't count towards lot coverage.
And walls and fences aren't included as lot coverage as well. So only if the wall created, like Savannah was saying, a deck patio that was raised more than 3 feet, then it would contribute. But fencing, walls, those are exempt from lot coverage.
Okay, so it's the dark pink plus the light pink that are included in the numerator.
That is correct.
Okay.
What dark? I only see one shade of pink, but
I can't. Is it
yellow.
yellow?
Yeah, yeah.
Let me just ask you, at what point do we, pay attention to our guidelines?
Sorry, is this a question for staff or the applicant? We can
Well,
have.
okay. I guess the only other question I'd ask is why was it decided to have a bigger footprint and go over 10% over the square footage of the house? An ADU is added. It's a big structure. I mean, it's a big mass on that corner. And I'm a little surprised there aren't more voices that are not happy with this.
Yeah, well,
Oh, I can help answer
I
that.
was gonna tell her to probably answer that. I can kind of follow up a little bit after she's done too.
Okay.
Sorry guys, I would have been there in person, but I'm out of town. But essentially the homeowners are looking to kind of modernize their entire property. So they, like we've discussed, already done these other improvements and are wanting to do now the same with their main house. They have several kids and they are all getting married and hopefully having children of their own. So they're trying to kind of create more spaces for them to all be able to gather during holidays and such. Um, and I believe the improvements that we're asking aren't like exaggerating too much. I feel like it is still, um, there's still quite a bunch of open space. All the neighbors have approved and signed on this design. So they're all very aware of what we're trying to do on this property.
Thank you. Thank you. Was there anything you wanted to add, or?
Just to piggyback a little bit off of what she said, and they're aware too, but we needed to do neighbor outreach, of course. So from what I could tell, they sent, very nice renderings, material, everything, and everybody was pretty much on board. I think the only thing was one person who they didn't respond to them, but everybody said, looks good to us. Good luck with your project, pretty much. Yeah.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any other questions? It sounds like, are you finished with the presentation? You have
Yes.
plenty of time? Okay.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. Well, we'll open to the public for comment. You always have 5 minutes to come back and address the board if you want. If you want to take a seat, that'd be great.
Thank you.
There's no one in the room, so I will open to Zoom for public comment. You'll have 3 minutes if you wish to chat, speak on behalf of the.
I do not see anyone else raising their hand.
All right, thank you. Again, applicant has 5 minutes, but feel free to yield your time if there's nothing else you'd want to address. All right, and with that, we'll bring it back to the board.
I have a procedural question. So we're asked to provide to address two variances. One is a lot coverage variance and one's a side I guess it's a side yard or front yard setback. And in the discussion, they also talked about a floor area exception. And so is it 3 things that we're actually considering, not just 2?
It's 3. That's correct.
Okay.
Floor area exceptions just aren't a variance, so it's
Yeah.
2 variances in addition to a floor area exception. So there aren't findings like there are for variances.
Got it. Okay, so we still have to make the 4 findings that we typically would do for lot coverage and setback. And for the floor area, we're not really considering it. We're not addressing it.
I can pull up the language. They're not necessarily findings, but I can pull the language from the code if that would be helpful.
Oh, but we do need to decide though, based on your findings. Got it. So we do have 3 things we
Yeah.
have to
It's just
consider.
different
Got it.
findings.
Got it. Okay.
For the next one. I do have a question that maybe you started asking staff the question before we close, so we'll.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's
I'm
good.
so
It's
sorry
good.
about
It's
that.
good. So I'm gonna ask staff a question, but maybe we'll ask the applicant as we still have not closed. Is there the landscaping plan as part of the landscape work? Is there a planting plan that is not included here that has trees and?
So all of the landscaping was done under a separate permit, so it's not included in any of the materials here. In terms of reference for them or my recall on what they proposed, I can't speak to that.
Okay. May I ask the applicant, what was included in that landscape plan from a planting perspective that has been approved, just to give us a frame of reference to what the overall design will look like? I don't know if your colleague's still on the line.
Yep, I can help you with that.
Okay.
So we have originally we proposed, I believe there are 6 olive trees. A lot of the planting that is proposed in the landscape permit is all towards the back of the property, which is essentially where all the improvements are happening. The front is pretty much staying consistent with what is there currently.
Okay. So it looks like it lines it's in front of the retaining wall. Is that where the six? I see four. There's something.
Maybe it's just 4. Sorry, it's been a little while since I've.
But it's that
been here.
location.
Yeah.
To kind of mask the retaining wall. Okay. Thank you. Anyone else have any other questions before we bring it to the board? Anyone?
Nope.
Okay. No? All right. With that, now we will close public comment, and who would like to kick us off?
Well, my comments are the same as I was bringing up. We have another project that's been added an ADU. It has added almost 10% above the square footage of the house, the lot size and the setback are all variances that are needed just for a larger property. And it's a big mass on that corner. I guess I'm just asking at what point do we follow our guidelines? It's a wonderful design and it does look like a lovely home, but that's again, that's a very big mass on that corner.
Yeah, I think we can't consider the ADU at all. We're not
No.
allowed to look at it, so we have to look at it in the void. And the question is, can we make the 4 findings? That's how we assess it. If we can make the 4 findings, then we can approve and go ahead with the variances. For me, like the side set or the front yard setback variance, I feel like it's kind of already been non-conforming and that little bump out. I can definitely get comfortable around that. I don't think, I think that I can meet the 4. The question is now, for me, is going through the 4 litmus tests of the 4 findings and see if I can make the 4 for the lot coverage. So that's where I'm standing right now. I haven't thought through that part. I can make the findings for the setback, but I'm struggling with the other one.
Yeah.
I usually struggle when we get a lot coverage variance along with a FAR exception, because it's like you just want a bigger house. The counter argument to that is like sometimes our ratios don't, like the math doesn't math, right? Like because of the 10% plus 2,000 plus for the garage, so it's like the break even's actually like only on like a really big, like a 52,000 square foot lot or something. So that is like, what is the from a like hardship, is it not getting the maximum FAR, or that's kind of where I think, to your point, what do the guidelines mean? Is it like, well, in a lot of these situations, the only way to achieve the max FAR is lot coverage, even if you build like a 2-story house that's like one, floor one on top of the other floor. A lot of times we do lot coverage when it's in the hillside, which you are burying part, you can only use half of the bottom, and that doesn't seem to necessarily be the case. But I agree, from a visual standpoint, there's a lot of structure on that corner. It doesn't block anyone's view, which is why I don't think a ton of people complained. But as you walk down the road and you start looking upwards, there's a lot there. And I think the new shape doesn't help because it's very blocky. So it's one of those things for me. I think there's, again, making those findings. When I first thought about the lot coverage, I was like, oh, maybe. And we have made lot coverage variance findings for when it is if you, as you read the findings, it was a lot to like make use of the outdoor space, but it's not like the deck doesn't actually, you're over significantly without the deck because the deck's kind of small. So it is very much the residence that's pushing you over, and it's a big house. So, yeah, that's where my initial thought is.
Can I ask staff, like, we do review a lot of lot coverage variances. I've very rarely, I think this is the first time I ever saw a floor area exception as well. I mean, is there a lot of that going around in that area as well?
So floor area exceptions are actually, can be processed by staff, so you wouldn't always see them. But they have been brought to you before.
Explain that again. What has been brought to us before the neighborhood and the houses that have gone over and asked for variances in that neighborhood has been presented before?
So when someone's asking for a floor area exception,
Sure.
that can be processed at staff level. It's not a trigger to bring it to the design review board like a variance is. So you wouldn't necessarily see all of the floor area exceptions that are happening or are being requested.
Right, but we haven't seen those.
You have, in the past, you have seen floor area exceptions.
I think the question was in conjunction, in both of them, like a lot coverage to accommodate an FAR exception.
It does
It
happen.
does that. Yeah. I mean, one thing also, we gotta, I mean, maybe we start looking at these heights and these elevations. I mean, I'm trying to think about guidance. Like, we've got a 12-foot ceiling, it looks like, for the second level. And then on top of that, I mean, I think there's an additional, 2.5, 3 feet. So, I do want to provide guidance if we all collectively think there's two questions, right? There's one, can we make the findings for the lot coverage variance, and can we make the findings for the FAR exception? And if the answer is yes, then it sounds like we have some collective feedback on just the massing, and if there's some adjustments to the height or the roof. But we need to figure out if we can make the findings for I think we should make sure we can make the findings for the lot coverage and FAR. I do agree with board member Kim that I can make the findings for the front yard setback given the existing conditions.
I agree. I would support the setback as well. Were you about to bring up the four findings that we're going to walk through, or how are we going to discuss those?
For the floor area exception?
Yes.
Yeah, they are included. I misspoke in the draft
Right.
resolution.
I didn't know if you were talking about putting those up or not.
Yeah, I could read them out loud.
Well, why don't we put them up on screen? Yeah.
And we've done that.
Yeah.
many
And
times.
I think, while doing that, yeah, I think one of the keys is the floor area exceptions are somewhat common, and they are done often by staff for small, relatively reasonable additions. The two key findings really have to do with, the finding A is that the visual size and scale of the proposed structure is compatible with the predominant pattern established by existing structures in the surrounding neighborhood. So I think what that's really telling you is, aside from the hard numbers, is the proposed project fit with the development pattern of the neighborhood? And that's a, a
And I guess
determinant.
where would guidance be? And that is a visual assessment, right?
Yeah, I think that's very much a look at, feel of the envelope and the,
And is
visual.
Is the guidance to consider that change, basically all structures on the property, right? When we discuss the building envelope and like like how that relates to the entire property and all structures on the property.
Well, I think you do need to recognize the same principle is that the ADU is considered exempt from floor area. So I would try to keep that, and it is detached, it is a separate structure. I would really try to, I think, for the purpose of argument, is really focus on the building and the structures that accompany the main structure for that purpose in making that finding.
What's kind of hard for us is
And
try.
I know that's a very awkward sort of
Yes,
response.
it's trying to ignore it, but like, what about the landscape structure? That's what I'm confused about, is we have to sort of, do we need to divorce our analysis of the main housing envelope from the rest of the landscaping? Because it all feels connected. It feels.
Well, I think look at the next finding. This is kind of small, but the next finding is the proposed structure is compatible with the physical characteristics of the site. Characteristics include, but are not limited to shape, steepness of lot, ease of access, presence of natural features worthy of retention such as trees, rocks, outcropping, stream courses, and landforms. So to some degree, that means, yeah, what's happening around the building, the structure, can inform your perception of how it fits with the scale and development pattern in the neighborhood. The site conditions, do dictate. I think corner lots, and particularly this one being, I think, almost like a 3-corner lot, tend to provide a little more open space in that they have 3 frontages. It's not really detailed on the plan, but area between front property line to, I've often heard that described as a rationale, depending on how much space is around the property itself, that kind of lends itself to creating a sense that there's more space on the property.
Do you guys have measurements or data on the back wall? Like how high that is? I mean, that's massive. That in of itself,
Can,
you know what I'm talking about, that back concrete wall.
It was conditioned that it could not be any taller than 6 feet.
Wait, from grade?
It's got to be more than 6 feet from what
I mean, I don't know. It seems awfully,
If it's too tall, then it will be caught
yeah.
at that stage in terms of inspections.
Well, it's like stepped, right? Because there's this. So when you're on the ground,
But then this way,
yeah. Sorry, unfortunately, the public comments closed, so just from a process standpoint. I
'cause
mean,
we don't have an elevation of the back on the side wall that goes down.
Because that work is not before you right now.
That's why,
I mean,
yeah.
I think and I do think it's important to make the fine, because like Marion, a lot of times kind of the default reason is like it's a unique shape, and a lot of that is true, like with a lot of properties, things are unique shape, but like in my opinion, they've flattened it's not that steep of a property anymore because they've raised everything, and it's not that irregular shape. Sometimes we see really narrow things where it's like this is basically a rectangle. So I'm struggling to see
When we look at the floor area exception, it says the proposed structure is compatible with the physical characteristics of the site.
Yeah.
So
I think
these are the natural features, not the man-made features. So the finding was based on the natural features.
well, it says characteristics include, it's compatible with the physical characteristics of the site. And I think what I'm trying to suggest is when you're considering the massing of the structure, I'm trying to suggest, I think you can take into account all the conditions of both this site and what is proposed as the project, whether it's what's proposed in the project itself or what has been approved through other permits in the past, or what is being built otherwise. So if, just because those landscape improvements have been approved through a separate permit, and maybe it's not detailed here, but from what you're seeing, if that informs kind of how you feel that the house now, the proposed project would present itself in a way that accentuates versus softens the massing, then I think that's perfectly valid part of any, review of these findings. I mean, a floor exception is it's asking for an exception.
So if we look at the back face of the elevation to the natural landscape, that's how we typically have struck the height of the maximum height of the 30 feet, right? The datums that were established in the front east elevation, for instance, the marker that says it's 25 feet above. But if you look at the back elevation, I'm sure you guys already checked. But I mean, if it's sloping backwards, wouldn't that add the extra 6 feet to 8 feet to the back elevation?
Yeah. And the other thing is, if you need more information,
Yeah. Okay.
ask for more, let's
Okay.
get more information.
Okay.
Because the plans are kind of very detailed in their own way, but there's a lot of stuff very much in space when I look at these plans.
Yeah, I found that's the thing that I struggled with when I went to the site, and after I had reviewed this, I couldn't square it all off. So yeah, I think I do need more information in terms of like a section that goes through it in comparison to what the existing grade is. I don't, because it's possible that this back face is actually, that far off. It's not really 25 feet, it's actually 30 something
Because they're
feet.
saying natural and proposed is that
Yeah, like I
there's
don't,
no way that.
yeah, because it's sloping backwards.
Here's the,
It's sloping backwards, right? So,
well, here's the,
yeah, but I need a section through that. See, that's up there, so that's already, the grade's down there.
right.
That's like already that's what's probably confusing me, is like, it feels like it's already 3 stories back there.
It's not helping.
Okay, so.
But like, I need more information, but do we have any specific recommendations?
Right, I think that's the thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, how do you feel about the lot coverage? And again, there's kind of the 2 steps, right? It's like, can we make do we think this site
Can hold it.
can hold it?
Yeah.
And can meet the findings for a lot coverage variance.
So this deck on the second floor is 12 feet back and it's 30 feet wide. And the bump out to the ground floor, it's sitting on top of, this thing is sitting on top of a bump out on the ground floor, right? The extra program that's
I think
happening.
it seems cantilevered into the second level.
Really? I thought it's sitting on top in terms of the floor. I need a section. Let's see.
Right, isn't this cantilever right here? This is that main deck.
Is it cantilevered?
You're talking about the deck on the second floor of the house or the main floor or the ground floor?
Okay, it is cantilevered. It's cantilevered, so, oh, it is flush, because I thought the floor plan was pushing out. Oh, it is pushing out from the existing wall. I can read it now from this. Okay. So that's my mistake, but I do think that's a giant deck. Because that's also causing the floor area
It-
exception, right?
No,
It's cutting, it's.
The cover's not the house.
Lot coverage, sorry, it's cut.
it doesn't. It contributes to it, but it's only, you would still be at 18.9% for just the residents.
I see. So let's take a look at that ground floor plan. Where is that plan?
I'm still not hearing why there's a need to do that to overmass this lot, other than the fact that, as pointed out to us, they want a bigger house. And I don't think that even comes close to satisfying me on why we should accept that.
The bump out right here.
And I think also that if you wanted to decrease the square footage of it and the mass of it, you probably should ask them to, I think we ought to ask them to work on this ceiling height that you pointed out. That's, it's 12 feet to the top of the ceiling. It's another almost 3 feet to the top of the roof. It's a 2 foot, 8 foot.
So the deck is partly coming out over this bump out on the ground floor, and it's also cantilevered part of it. So you see this dashed line, yeah, so it's both. And the reason why is that they have another sort of living room down here, and they put the bathroom right here to push it out.
Mhm.
So that's what's causing the floor area on the ground floor to increase.
But I wonder, I mean, do we think that pushing that back does anything, or is really the height, or you need both?
The height's massive.
The height's massive, yeah. And
And there's a clear story on top of the windows on the top in the what do you call it? The
Right.
I think that, yeah, there's also, I mean, that adds,
And as you know, it doesn't add anything to the view from the house. It's just purely design and mass.
yeah, I think it's to match the ADU. They have a clear story here, they have a clear story there. That's the master is over here. This is the living space right here. I need a couple of sections. I need a couple of sections superimposed with the topography underneath to understand how much over that they could be over.
it seems like you could flat. You could still have 10-foot ceilings and have a flat roof and trim like 4 feet off the height.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I think it's too tall.
Okay, we all agree on that.
Yeah, because it's pitched and they're trying to take splitting the difference.
Yeah.
Going a little bit below the peak of the pitch and creating a flat roof, but it still feels pretty massive.
Yeah.
Well, especially when you, like, say you come to the back of the house, it's completely exposed. It's a big mass.
Yeah.
And the olive trees are gonna hide the retaining wall, maybe, but not the house at all.
And then maybe there's also, I don't know, playing a little play on the ground floor. I don't know. There's a lot of gathering spaces here.
Okay, so I think the feedback, we have feedback that there's too much mass, it's too tall. There is still a question of, can we make the findings for lot coverage? There's, if you look at the current FAR, they're like 600 square feet under, and they're already over lot coverage. So this is where you get to, like, given the lot coverage constraint, the FAR allowance per code, the fact that the math doesn't math. You know,
And I need some sections. At least going both directions.
okay.
Yeah. Actually, the most important, the one that cuts through the halfway through the massing. So and that cuts through but to the back landscape. So that section I
Okay.
really need.
Yeah, I guess my maybe guidance would be from the variance perspective for FAR and lot coverage. I personally would require from the applicant just a much more compelling factual argument, because I didn't I didn't buy really the topography is unique because the topography is now flat, right, for the most part. So for the lot coverage, I just and I struggle now with these, like, we get into this issue where, you know, and historical variances, and everyone has a variance, and it's because, well, there are O2, but they're a small lot, so it should be 30%. Like, I don't want to penalize the applicant for, like, some potential discrepancies in the code, which is why we give variances. I just want a much more factual, stronger argument than what we currently see, because we have just increasingly been getting my lot is different, is unique, and it has led to a lot of people getting variances to build bigger houses. And I think that has to be, we have to start getting a bit more objective in the findings for that. Is
The neighborhood comparisons are always valuable, and I don't know, those weren't discussed tonight, maybe those were at other times, but that I think goes into what you're describing as historical interest, but same reason I don't hear an argument that makes me want to approve the variance.
Yeah, I'm having trouble. It's 263 feet. I
Mhm.
think they could find it. I'm looking at the plan. There's a lot of extra stuff.
lot
going-
coverage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's
It's
only
that-
263.
From
the
current.
one side of the house alone would allow you to do that.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, I don't want to, I'm not trying to debate the point, but one of the findings that's often used for, sometimes often lot coverage, because FAR,
Yep.
floor area has its own
Yeah.
sort of set of findings, but often it's lot coverage, whether it's like we're trying to keep the house down, so we're spreading it out because of views, or in a lot of cases, it's because the lot size is, and on the plans, this indicates the required lot size is 11,300, and that, but that's actually the existing lot size. So the existing lot size is well below 20,000 is the required. So when you have a 20,000 square foot minimum lot size, often those coverages and everything are sort of proportional to that considered minimum. So there are a lot of times variances are granted on that rationale.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to argue that, I'm just saying.
No, no.
I want to clarify that error on the front
Yeah.
plans. Make sure you're aware it is a smaller lot.
Agreed. And that's kind of why I said, like, I didn't want to penalize for the, like, because if this was an R1, it'd be at 30%, like, lot coverage. And then
Right.
we'd be, you know, so it's like, wait, why is this an R02?
Yeah, yeah.
Are all these, like, what are the reasons behind that is more helpful versus, because it's still zoned in R02, you know, and we see a lot of these under the required.
Yeah.
Because of the after the fact, right? There was zoned after the house was already parceled, right? So it's,
And that is the case here.
yeah. I still don't, I get why that's why we grant variances. unclear if that is a good reason for us to be. I know when
Right
you
here.
asked, and that's what I
Yeah.
was saying, right? Like, it's like, cat's out of the bag to some degree, so.
But I would, yeah, usually when I'm experiencing this scenario, I think it's good for the board to kind of try to figure out, maybe make a little punch list. What is it you have issues with, you'd like them to try to address, what information you need, and kind of get some feedback from the applicants on, what they think they can do, or, whether they certainly want to try to address that, or think, what they're sort of, having listened to you, what they may be able to give you some feedback. And because it sounds like this is something you may want to continue to get more information.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
we
think we want to continue it, and I think in terms of bulk, I think we're kind of all on the same page about the height. So in support of whatever changes that they can make to lower the height, we'd like to also have a section so we understand exactly what's going on, because I can't do the math on a non-existent topography drawing. And then in terms of the lot coverage issue, we think that there could be a solution and where they don't need to seek a variance. So try hard to figure that out and still get a living space. You can still get a bedroom. There may be a way to play around with the plan to get that. It's 263 feet, so
I'd agree.
Agree.
All right, do we have a motion?
Yeah, and
Do you want to continue to a date uncertain?
I make a
Yes,
motion to
yes.
continue it to a
Yes,
date
ma'am.
uncertain.
yes, that's the most second, I'll second the motion.
All right,
Okay.
all in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion to continue to a date uncertain, 3-0 to 2 absent.
And do we list
I think we.
guidance, or just, we don't need to do that then? That's,
I think we've heard your comments.
okay.
We'll work with the applicant on and trying to address the concerns.
Okay. With that, we are adjourned for the evening, and we'll see you next October 2nd.
October 2nd? Okay.